loves, my name is Paige, this is Pages with Paige, and today we're going to be doing my December wrap up. So December, I finished off the Goodreads goal. Technically, so I started my Goodreads goal at 52, then stretched it to 75, then stretched it to 100, then stretched it to 150, and then we stretched to 175, and then read 180. So I'm so thrilled with that. I read 12 books in the month of December. We had a whole mix of things, nothing bad, thankfully, and participated in the Not Safe for Workathon running from the 14th to the 31st. And as this is January 1st, I'm staying in my dressing gown. It's already raining. We're having a nice cozy video. I read a stat. In the 12 books, I think I managed to read over 4,000 pages. So yeah, I did good. Essentially because Not Safe for Workathon was starting the 2 week into the month, I figured that I wanted to spend the first 2 weeks just digging into those big books. So I managed to read 2 big books, a little audiobook, and just 1 regular book. So let's dive in. The first book that I read, and I'm so happy I finally managed to complete it, is The Toll by Neil Shusterman. So this is the exclusive Our Crate edition, and I loved this series. The Toll for me is a 4-star read. I think it's a solid conclusion to the trilogy. I love Scythe, I adored Thunderhead, and then this just, I feel like the boundaries could have been pushed a little bit further. So we're following Citra and Ronan, and a whole other cast of characters come into play. And it was really interesting seeing the different dynamics and how it worked. But I felt that there were elements that were a little bit unnecessary. But yeah, so found it really interesting. I love being in the dystopian world. I find the concept of it really interesting, and I loved being on the island. And yeah, the next chunky monkey that I read, oh my lord, this author is cementing themselves as one of my favorite authors, and that is The Ship of Magic, book 1 of The Light Ship Traders by Robin Hobb. This feels like a gargantuan. I look at this and I thought it was over 1,000 pages. Nah, bro. But regardless, I love Robin Hobb's writing. I feel that everything is so accessible. The characters, I just adore. Sassy talking ships, yes, please. Like, I don't know what it is, but if there's like a sentient being that is sassy, I am fully here for it. This is a very floppy book. And yeah, I'm so excited to dive into the second book. I'm not sure when I'll get to it, but fingers crossed, we can work it into a Twisted Choosers our TBR. And this was 5 stars. The next book, speaking of Twisted Choosers, was one of my Twisted Choosers prompts, and that was anticipated releases. Now, my brain did me a doozy. I picked this out for the anticipated release prompt for Not Safe for Workathon, and then promptly forgot that I did it. But the one that I assigned for this prompt to then be read in Not Safe for Workathon, I forgot about. So I read the other one for Not Safe for Workathon. But the one that I did read was Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, book 1 in the Scholarman series, and this is also the Our Crate exclusive edition. This was the month of finally getting to those Our Crate editions. So this wasn't anticipated releases for me, and I gave it 4 stars. I really enjoyed the concept of it. The characters felt a bit young for me. I know it's supposed to be YA, but I don't know, there was just something a little bit juvenile about it, and I'm happy to continue, but it's not a new favorite. And I think I'm realizing that maybe I loved Uprooted, I liked Spinning Silver, so, and I thought I would adore this because it's like a magical school that can kill you, but it's just, yeah, a little bit different. So 4 stars. I'm very excited to continue on with the series and read The Last Graduate. I don't think I'll be buying the Our Crate editions of them anymore, even though they are stunning and it would look fabulous together. I just can't justify spending $80 on a book that isn't an all-time favorite. Then I read 'Twas the Night Shift Before Christmas by Adam Kay, and holy shit, this was a 5 out of 5 star read for me. I adore Adam Kay's writing. He is hilarious. His little anecdotes just fill me with joy, angst, and humor. I don't understand how people do the things that they do, but he just writes it in such a beautiful way. Ash is currently reading This Is Going to Hurt, his full collection, and he premises Towards the Night Shift being like, I left out this story because it was either too gross or do Christmas. These are the Christmassy ones. Here you go. And yeah, it was a delight just listening to it. I wasn't feeling very well, and so this really helped just give me a bit of a laugh. Next up, I read Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnston, and Lauren Miracle, and I'm giving this a 3-star. So the Jubilee Express was probably my favorite, but it still wasn't like the best. Lauren Miracle's I didn't like at all, and John Green's was pretty good. I feel like if you combined every trope that existed in YA and put it in Christmas, this is his book. It wasn't bad, it just wasn't good. It was just okay. Technically I did finish this 5 minutes into Not Safe for Workathon on the 14th, so I can count it as Christmas sweater, read a book with an ugly cover. I did ask Ash if this or the other book for the prompt, which one was worse, and he said this one was uglier. So yeah, that's my first Not Safe for Workathon prompt ticked off. The next book I read was 10 Blind Dates by Ashley Elston. This was a 4-star, fucking adorable, beautiful YA rom-com. Like, just thinking about it makes me smile. Sophie goes to her family's, like, all extended family for Christmas after her boyfriend has dumped her, and they're like, all right, we're gonna set you up on 10 blind dates. And just the chaos that ensues was wonderful. I want to be part of this family for Christmas. Her nonnas, just like the way that they describe food, just yes. And then each of the dates themselves go from weird and wacky to absolutely horrifying to this is lovely. It was a predictable YA read, but you know, I've read a lot of YA. Things are bound to be predictable eventually. But yeah, still absolutely adore this. For Not Safe for Workathon, this fulfilled the prompt of Tickle My Tinsel. Read a book that sparkles or has gold or silver on the cover, but the confetti sparkles, and you've got the gold balloons as well, if you want to count that. As well as All I Want for Christmas. Read a book featuring a large cast of characters. So her extended family, that I cannot remember all of them. They are huge. My family is like 4 people, plus my grandpa, if he comes down on Christmas to spend it with us. So like 4 people. That's my max. And for her to have cousins and aunts and uncles and nieces and nephews and just all the things, there was a lot of people. Next was one that surprised me, and this was fulfilling the prompt of Naughty Santa, read a book stolen from someone else's TBR, and that's Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I might have stolen this from Ash's TBR and then proceeded to read it for him. There are a few points in here that had me absolutely bawling my eyes out. Check out week 1 of Not Safe for Workathon's vlog. I'll leave it linked up above. Seeing me bawl my eyes out and swear at Sanderson for hitting me in the feelings. Again, sassy AI robot ship thing, just yes, this was so funny. The reason I'm not giving it a 5 stars is literally our protagonist Spencer. In the beginning, she is so fucking annoying. It is so painful to read that it just really, it wasn't gelling with me, and I was struggling hardcore. Once she starts toning down a little bit and having some character growth, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, 4-star read. Alrighty, so the next book was also for Twisted Chooses Our TBR, and that was for Ugly Cover. Again, designed to go with the Christmas sweater prompt, but as we have stated, we've changed it from that prompt. So, I Let You Go by Claire McIntosh. Originally, this was a bet with a friend, I think. So essentially, this girl was constantly texting him, and he kept responding. And I said, yo bitch, stop responding to her. Like, no, she is slightly psychotic. Don't get yourself involved. Stop being a nice dude and fucking just ignore her. Do not talk to her for a month, and I'll read your favorite book. I read his favorite book. I might have read it 4 months later, and I gave this 5 stars. I was not prepared for this. So I don't really do thrillers, mysteries. I won't pick them up of my own accord. It will usually be someone pushes me and said, this is really good, check it out. And I'll be like, oh, okay, cool, no worries. Or you lose a bet. I had no idea what was happening. This has every trigger warning you could possibly imagine in it. There's domestic violence, death of child, miscarriage, animal abuse, emotional manipulation, gaslighting, what else did I mention? Rape.
Pretty much the entire list.
If you're sensitive to pretty much any trigger, just double check that it's not in this first. But I loved it. So I'm finding that like the more triggering a book is, the more I enjoy it. But I don't want it done crassly. This made sense for all of it. But oh lordy, this was just twist after twist after twist after twist, and I loved it. I don't want to say much going into it because I don't want to ruin it. I don't want to spoil anything. Just know that this is fulfilling the Not Safe for Workathon prompt now of Dick My Halls. Read a book with an asshole character. And the second I finished reading this, I was like, no, the ugly cover can go out the window. We can double up on it. I don't care. Dick My Halls. This book. Then we have my anticipated release. So Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Barron. This was the Twisted Choosers of Author of Color. So my bad, accidentally swapped Deadly Education and this for the Not Safe for Workathon prompt of Ball Drop, Reader Coming of Age, or your most anticipated release. So this in a nutshell. So yeah, this was Ball Drop, and I'm giving this a 4 stars. It was really fantastically written. I really enjoyed it. I loved the take of 200 years in the future after Cinderella's story. This is the chaos that has become of having to go to a ball to find your match. Interestingly, I think what I am holding back on was actually the ending. So I don't feel that it really like, it made sense for how it went, but like, yeah, it's just not 100% for me. Still absolutely adored it, and so thankful that I read it, and I love this LGBT rep. I'm pretty sure Ash has been recommending this too. So yeah, that was that one. Then I read A Worthy Opponent by Katie Robert. So this is a 5-star read for me. It is a part of the Wicked Villain series. So we're following Hook and Tinkerbell, and just, yes, I loved everything about this. Perfect. I just, this series, I don't know what it is. I do know what it is. It's the fact that they're fucking villains. But it's just chef's kiss. I love it, everything about it. I just, your Disney fantasy movie childhood is going to be absolutely brutally murdered in its sleep. But go for it. It's great. I also, again, trigger warnings in here for domestic violence. They're trying to escape Peter, who is now become the villain. And yeah, there's just a few scenes that are quite tense. Tink is really suffering from what's not explicitly stated as PTSD, but she has very adverse reactions when opening up, and panic attacks and things like that. So just be aware that that's there, but everything about this, brilliantly done. Love it with all my heart and soul. And that fulfilled the Twisted Choosers my TBR prompt of Smart. Yes. As well as filling the Not Safe for Workathon prompts of Meet Me at the Mistletoe, read a bromance or erotica, definitely erotica, hands down love that shit. As well as Mummy Kissing Santa, read a book that features a love triangle or polyamory. So I'm sort of, it's not necessarily polyamory, but it's in the theme of the prompt. So essentially Hook is okay to share Tink with other people, with him like controlling the situation, or not controlling, but like being in charge, being the dom. He will also be with other people, so it's like a communal event rather than just the two of them. So that's why I'm letting it fit for this prompt. Then for my final Twisted Choosers, Aussie, and I've gone with Iron Lights by Felicity Banks. This is the 3rd in the Antipodean Queen series. I have no idea how to pronounce this. This is following Emmeline Muchamore in Gold Rush Victoria, or a little bit after that time now, and she is going up against the Queen. Really interesting. I think it was a solid conclusion. I'm giving it 4 stars. I'm really happy that I finished this fucking book, because I put it on so many TBRs. I wanted to finish off the series by the end of the year, and I did it, and I'm so happy. And I really enjoy having independent, like indie author, Australian authors being represented on my shelves. I find that it's such an interesting and fun read, and also has LGBT rep in it. So yeah, very much enjoyed. This was fulfilling the prompt of Hot Aussie Christmas. Read a book by an Australian author or set in Australia. So I realized that's 179 books and I have 2 days left of the month. So we're gonna do a nice quick short thing, and I'm going to do 100 Baby for the last day of the month and not read anything. And that is what I did. And it was fucking weird. Speaking of fucking weird, I read Grief is the Thing with Feathers by Max Porter. I listened to the audiobook on script while reading along, even though it's only 114 pages. And I'm giving this a 4 stars. I also have no idea what the fuck I read. I'm very confused. I think that its portrayal of grief was marvelous, and like essentially the things that I'm confused about, it's tied in with the grief and the metaphorical personification and just all those different things. So I get it, I understand it, I appreciate it, but also what the fuck. It's just one of those that are just, it's just weird, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, don't have too much to say on this. Loss of a parent, and yeah, that's the main trigger for this in here, or loss of a loved one. And I decided to put this towards the prompt of trim your tree, read an earth tone book, because the browny grey cover is very earth tone. It's like a clay colour. So these are the books that these are the physical books that I read in December, and I am so proud. Like, this is a stack. Let me know in the comments below, how did your 2020 wrap up? Are you happy with all the things you read this year? I'm so glad that like I just excelled with my reading this year, and I feel like I was really slumpy around like August, September, but I think 12 books a month, like that is impressive. Like, I am so proud of myself. If you like this video, feel free to give it a big thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more of this mess, feel free to subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. Bye!